can't get the lyrics.
Hold up.
AJ want everything he can. I'll be the one to take the risk and go and get them bands. I'll be the one to never sit and go and make the plan. Knowing my mother getting older, I ain't got no time. Gotta keep it humble for the road, it ain't the left behind. Yeah. To the hundreds, pledge allegiance, I stand. I'm a poor forward with a fucking white sand. I give it all to this fucking mic stand. If it's been done before, then I know I can. I'm on the rise, I'm trying to keep a level head. She want my time, she begging me to give me neck. I'd rather shed blood to the ground while I'm here. Put some weight on top of my name.
Okay, yo, what's the deal, y'all? Hope all is well. I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalon, and this is another episode of the #1 podcast in all of Los Angeles, Nice and Neat. Oh, man. This just in. We have another incredible episode ahead of us.
This just in.
Back to you, Raj.
Okay, look, fellas. Oh, man. Wow. Okay, we all are in relationships. Outside of relationships, we are learning ourselves. Mm-hmm. Our partner helps us learn ourselves immensely, a lot, tremendously, all of the other synonyms that go with that. Man, and this topic today is interesting because we've kind of like touched on it, but we haven't really talked about its impact to us and how we came to the understanding of it as it pertains to us, and also the understanding as it pertains to our partners. And today we're going to be talking about love languages. What do they mean? What do they mean to you? What do they mean to you, Duke? What do they mean to you, O? What do they mean to me? Are they valid? Can you switch it? Can you change it? Can you choose what your love language is? Where did you get it from? Did your parents love you this way? You know, it's a lot. But also, in love languages, you can sometimes get those things that we're talking about misinterpreted with a lust language. I just learned about lust languages as well, ladies and gentlemen. What are some of the lust languages, O?
You have romance, harmony.
Wait a minute. I'm going to let you get out. Romance is a form of a lust language.
There's 4 different types of lust languages. You have romance, harmony, connection, and then the primal.
Primal, what does that consist of?
Like I would say primal needs. Like what do we physically need as a human? I feel like
Physically.
Got you. Physically. I associate primal with that. Yeah, so like an example, in my opinion, an example of a primal need for all of us is sex, right? As humans, right? That's a primal need. Like another primal need that has nothing to do with lust, though, is like eating, right? Nutrition. That's a primal need. We need those things. But for the 4 particular love languages, in terms of primal, I honestly believe sex falls underneath that category, which I'm pretty sure we're going to hear today. That some of us may not believe that, you know what I mean? But those are the facts. So
hold on, say the lust languages one more time.
You got primal. Sure, you got primal. You have connection. You have harmony, and you have romance.
Harmony just means everything is good.
Bliss.
It's all bliss. We're not stretching each other. We're not growing each other for real. It's just like where I could get in and learn, I learn. But like other than that.
So that makes me lust you. That's what that's saying, right? The deeper, I guess, the more in harmony we are, the more I lust you. Is that what it's saying? Right? Because, okay, let's talk about connection. The more we connect, the more I lust you. How does that, I guess, what's the, like, how do we get to the lust part? You know what I mean? I guess, like, how do those things, I'm trying to use the right word, but I'm trying to figure out connection, primal. Like, if sex is primal, are we not getting connection? Is sex not connection? Is sex not romance? Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
It's harmony, not.
It's harmony,
like you said, you want her to be our peace. Is that not a part of?
So the definition that they have for connection, right? A strong emotional link is necessary for connected types to feel aroused and desired, is intimately linked to feeling known, understood, and safe with a partner.
Guys. Man. All right, here we go. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Harmony, right? We see a lot of sometimes you see interracial couples and you're just like, man, like, what is it? It's like, man, it's no problems. It's all good. You know, it's smooth, right? Harmony isn't necessarily a part of connection.
Okay.
Because something that O said in that definition is understood.
Okay.
A lot of times in harmony, you're not always understood. So a lot of times you do seek somebody that may not see you or understand you in order for you to feel that quote unquote peace, but that harmony, which can be provided as a lust language here. Okay. This is actually going to get much deeper than I anticipated, guys. Again, welcome to Nice and Neat, another incredible episode. No, that right there, bro, is kind of crazy. Okay, we're going to dive into the lust languages. I want to go back a little bit. Let's talk about the love languages a little bit. We've talked about love languages before, but dude, when did you realize love languages were a real thing?
I think this is a recent thing, honestly. I think I started paying attention and being aware of love languages probably later in my late 20s. I don't think I even thought about there being languages to love. I just looked at love as just one umbrella thing, right? And this just like this one feeling. And I never segmented it to be, you know, for act of service and gifts and words of affirmation and quality time. And what's the other one? That was for
physical touch.
Physical touch, right? I never broke it down like that. All those things just kind of were in one thing. So this is recent, 33 now. So 28, 29, you know, but, you know, learning about them was one thing, but being able to identify the love language that I leaned into, that was another thing, you know, and I think that came from just my relationship, right? But prior to that, I couldn't even identify it because I just, you know, you're dealing with just multiple people, you've been in multiple relationships and everything kind of just washes in, kind of blends into the other, right? Acts of service, like it just blends into the other. So I never really was able to identify what works for me. But knowing that now, man, I think my number one would probably be, I would say acts of service. That's probably my number one because I think help does a different thing to me than anything else. You know, acts of service. That would be my number one. So, but yeah, man, it's every day is like a learning thing to me. So I'm still learning about myself and the acts of service. I mean, in the love languages, right? But you know, I'm not all the way subscribed to everything. You feel me?
Yeah, I think women are more in tune with their love languages, more understanding of it, more in the know of what they need in order to continue to function. And then when it comes to their emotions, I feel like women have operated in their emotions much more than us. And this is a new space for us. Being able to operate inside your emotions, like you probably didn't know acts of service was something for you until somebody gave you a service. You know, like, so he's like, oh, I didn't even ask for that, and I got it. I told a dude at the shop, one of my love languages was acts of service, and he was like, oh, so you want to serve it? You want a maid? I was like, nah. He was like, so you want a mind reader? I'm like, nah. But when you're in tune with somebody, they could kind of see what it is that you need, and that is the acts of service. So it's just like if your woman's love language is words of affirmation, you could say, oh, so you want a mind reader? Like, nah, I just know what she needs right now, and I'm going to give it to her verbally. You know, so I know for me, I didn't learn that acts of service and, ironically, words of affirmation were my love language is until this relationship. This relationship.
Oh, wow.
Like, I knew like Duke said, shit just kind of blended for me. You know, it was just kind of like,
love was just
love, you know, like I like to exist. Like, you know, I like the way that she does things. Like, that's kind of cool. I wouldn't have been able to put my finger on it.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't have been like, and just it would have been like, okay, what do you like? Oh man, I love when she orders me food. I didn't know that was like acts of service. I didn't know that's what that was. It's like, yo, I don't even ask and like food gets here. You know, Brittany would call me like, babe, did you eat today? Like, nah, I didn't. Cool, I got some food on the way. Like, oh wow. That way that makes me feel, the way it can melt me without me even wanting to get touched by it. Like, that's a love language for you. Some people it might not affect, you know. Words of affirmation, like, man, I don't really know if you could do this. You can knock this out. Take care of that. You know, like, you know what? I do feel like I can do that now. That's a love language for me. Like, I feel like gifts make everybody feel good, but it doesn't make me melt. It's like, so that's not my love language.
Yep.
Gifts are, I could get me what I want to get.
Could you be wrong about your love language?
I think you can be wrong about your love language. I think a lot of people are wrong about their love language when it comes to the gifts. I think a lot of people receive gifts and they're just like, man, that's my love language. And it's just like, you feel like that's your love language until your real love language actually gets poured into.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of love languages that get touched on, they're not really getting poured into, so you don't really know what you want. I've had the luxury of experiencing very, very great encounters with people, so therefore being able to, I feel like I fully understand my love language now at this point.
Yeah. Do y'all think it's fair to say that your love language is essentially the biggest value, right? Is it the component of love that you find the most valuable, or is there another way to describe it?
It's
You get what I'm saying?
You know what? That's interesting that you say it that way. I think I can't say yes, but I can say that's what speaks to you the most.
Correct.
But the most valuable and like,
So what do you find them? Okay, so whether it's physical touch, whether it's quality time, whether it's gifts, whether it's affirmation, whether it's
acts of service.
acts of service, what do you look at, and you know, how do you rank them, right? And when you rank them, why do you rank them like that? It's just like, yo, this is the most meaningful to me.
Yeah,
right?
it's what resonates most with you. That's how you rank them. Because some things aren't important. Like you said, like gifts, that's just not important to me. Yeah, to me, I could care less about it, right? But acts of service, if I don't have that,
Why though?
why?
Because you feel like acts of service brings you the most value.
What does it make you feel?
Yeah, is it just because it sounds good, or is it because you actually feel like, yo, like acts of service alleviates a lot of things out of my life. Gifts don't do nothing for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So that's like finding that.
It alleviates a lot of things from my life, and it really, truly, honestly, it really makes me feel loved in the moment. Because when somebody does something for you without even asking, like that's real love. You know what I mean? Like if you gotta really ask somebody to do it for you all the time, like you're gonna start questioning if the love is really there. Personally,
Yeah, you said acts of service. You said acts of service. I say acts of service. Do y'all think most men's love language is acts of service?
That's a good question. I think ours will be, because we're not gonna ask for shit. So like, I don't think we're not really good. We're not really good. Hey, can you help me with? I need this. You know, it's just like, it needs to get done. Let me do it. Now, if you look over and it's done, you're like, wow, you see me. Like, wow, okay. I've been going all day. I haven't eaten, and you made me food, or you order food, and you order what I like.
damn.
Wow, you
Damn.
see me. You know, now you just gave me more fuel to do everything that I'm trying to do and then some. So I think for us,
And then as far as gifts, why is gifts not something that's important? Is that us, or is that men?
I think it's some men who like gifts. I think we talk about.
You think it's some men that have gifts as
Man,
the number one
that's
love
what-
language? I find that hard to believe, man.
Man,
just
you
because-
guys.
Why would you think that?
Y'all gotta understand. Hey, man, I see niggas all day, man. It's dudes who swindle to get gifts.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this question then. So for any men for the men who have gifts as their number one love language, do you consider that feminine?
No.
I can't consider no love language feminine.
Yeah, nah. They all fall under the category of love.
Okay, so
what he
why
likes.
do you think? So why do you think that? Because I feel like most men would not acknowledge that gifts is your love language, right? That's how I feel, and I feel like because some men kind of associate that with like,
bro, how could gifts be your love language, right?
How could gifts be your love language as a man?
You get your love language from like your experiences, your upbringing. Correct?
You said how can gifts as a man be your love language?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's possible, right?
Hey, you know what? I actually have a client who sat in my chair just a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me that, you know, his girls never got him a gift, and it made him feel some type of way.
But that don't mean that gifts are his number one love. It can't be because he's still in the relationship.
Nah,
It can't be.
They're not.
It can't. Oh, they're not.
They're not in a relationship. no
Oh
more.
shit.
But he said that she never got him a gift, and it made him feel some type of way. And for him to feel some type of way, it wasn't fulfilling a need that he had. Like this was the, you got to understand too, man. We sitting here for an hour, and you tell me this is the premise of our conversation that we're gonna have. You not getting a gift is really what upset you. That could be high on his love language list. It could be high on his love language list. And I'm saying they wouldn't have 5 love languages for that to not be somebody's number one. So in gifts, I kind of want to know where is because his love language may be acts of service, but it may become in the form of gifts. Right?
That's where the love languages get confusing.
It gets a little tricky there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because my headphones was broke. And Brittany bought me a new pair of headphones. It wasn't a gift. It was the act.
Yeah.
So it was just like, yo, you seen me.
Mm-hmm.
You seen me. Like it wasn't a gift. It was the act. So I could see how they could cross lines. I definitely could see how they could cross lines there. And again, somebody might not have poured into his acts of service before. So right now, gifts might be number one because that's how he's receiving it.
Okay, you said that, yo, it can't be. Okay, you said gifts can't be his love language in particular, because if it was, they wouldn't be together or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying that if I'm not getting the love language that I think I'm supposed to be getting, we can't be together, even though there's 4 more?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is if you know your love language and it's number one on your priority list and you're not receiving that, I don't see how you could stay in that relationship. Right? If this is my number one thing that I require and you're not giving it to me, how could this work?
So I'm gonna ask you this.
Ask.
Duke said there's 5 love languages. One of them you're not receiving. Let's say you're getting all 4. Would it be fair for you to alter your love language in order to receive the other 4 that are now, like, is that fair for somebody to be like, hey, you know what? Acts of service is the way I receive love, but you know what? My partner knows how to give love through gifts, and they know how to give love through physical touch, and they give love through affirmation. So let me just alter that. I'm gonna have to take a back seat to that being my love language, and I'm gonna start receiving it this way. Is that fair to do that? Or
it's fair if these 2 people in the relationship have strong, effective communication. Like if they're talking about this and she's being honest and transparent about, hey, I know that this is your love language, but for some reason it's very hard for me to speak to you through that language. But I can speak to you very strongly through the rest of the remainder, right? If you guys are able to have that conversation, then I think a man can alter his love language, right? But if we don't have that communication, then nah. Why would I alter? She's not gonna alter hers.
I don't think it's fair.
She's not gonna alter hers. Yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair, because now you're asking, because you are trying to love me at your own comfort. You get what I'm saying? So if I say, yo, my love language is acts of service, and you saying, nah, I hear you, but I'm gonna give you these 4, you choosing to not give me acts of service because you want to do what's only comfortable for you.
You're choosing to run away from the work.
Because it requires it, okay? So that's why it's not fair. You know what I'm saying? And the way I approach it is so when someone says, yo, these are my love languages, it's supposed to be a selfish thing.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be selfish. These are my love languages
Yes.
that I've agreed on with myself. You know what I'm saying? This is not something we've talked about.
This is how I receive
This is how
love.
this is not something.
Yeah.
This is not for negotiation. You know what I mean? You can't try to tell me, hey, I think you would be better suited for quality time. Okay, I hear you. Do you want quality time? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. If that's what you need. You know. So that's why I don't think it's fair, because then we start getting to a place where, all right, anytime I have something, and I have a request for how I want to be treated or handled, you can always be like, I don't know yet. Let me see. I think it's better like this. And I don't think that's productive for a healthy relationship.
What if it's a situation where she tries, but just not like hitting how you want it to hit? You know what I mean? Like that.
That's different. Trying is different than disregarding.
So what I'm saying is, what if she's trying and then she says, I can't give it to you how you need it. I can't give you the remainder of these love languages to like my full capacity. Right? I'm really trying here though. It's just, it's not in me.
Man, I find it hard to believe that someone can give you 4 love languages and not give you the one you actually want.
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe. I think that's a choice.
I don't find it hard to believe.
I think it's a choice though. I don't think it's like an accident.
I also believe that that's happened to you guys before at some point in time.
Oh, for sure.
Right. And you had to discover your love language, right? Did you always know what your love language was since you was a little kid?
No.
Right. You didn't.
I didn't find out what my love language was until I was in my previous relationship in my mid-20s. To be honest, I had no idea what love languages were until my ex-girlfriend handed me the book and was like, hey, I want you to read this book and learn about your love languages. And it also came at a time where it's like, you know, it's kind of hard to force someone to grow before they're ready to grow, right? So like even getting the book, I didn't even open it until we were out of the relationship, right? So, I'm being honest. Like you can't just give somebody a piece of game and be like, yo, read this shit right now. Pour into this shit. That person got to be ready to receive that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to be open and receptive to that shit. So
I don't think if you can't communicate it, then I can't consider it like dismissal.
yeah.
If I haven't communicated, hey, this is my love language, then, you know, you not giving it to me, I can't hold that against you. I'm just talking about in the sense that, yo, I've identified what my love language is. And I'm okay with communicating that with you and you deliberately being like, I can't do it, bro. That's a problem to me. That's a problem to me. Because I'm going to ask you, why can't you do it? It got to be some miraculous reason. I got to ask you, why can't you do it? Because I could always follow an excuse of why I can't do it for you.
When did you discover your love language, dude?
28, 29.
Okay.
28, 29. I was in a relationship. 28, 29.
And it just hit you, or was it like an act that happened, or because you said you had the book, so were you reading?
Yeah, I was reading it, and as I was reading it and learning, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely an acts of service guy, right? This speaks to me, this resonates with me. And then moving forward, getting into another relationship and understanding all the love languages, and after getting into my relationship now, I am definitely sure that acts of service is my love language, right? But until you have a solid understanding of all 4 of them, right? And then
5.
Until you have a solid understanding of all 5 of them, and then put yourself in a position where you could experience these things. Because reading them is one thing, but actually experiencing them is a completely different thing, because you could resonate. One of them could resonate with you all on paper, and then you experience it and you'd be like, you know what? That didn't really hit like I thought it would. You know what I mean? And then she surprised you with another love language. You're like, damn, that really spoke to me. Actually, let me realign my languages. You know what I mean? So a lot of that comes with experience through the dating scene.
Like you said, I think they all got to happen at the same time. I can't identify which one is for me. They all got to happen.
Yeah.
And then as they happen more, we get more experience. We call it data.
Yep.
Okay. And then we start making decisions from there about what makes us feel the best. So she buys me some Gucci slippers. It doesn't really do it for me.
It don't really hit.
Right? I'm not excited the same way I would if you call the cleaners to come clean the house when that's my job. You get what I'm saying? Something like that, right? So alleviating things off of my plate always is going to be more meaningful than the gifts. So is words of affirmations for people, for men who kind of go through a lot in this world, right? Having a woman, we always talk about the importance of having a strong woman by your side. Those words of affirmation, because women's words are powerful, right? Those are things we need. Those are things I'm concerned about, because I be in my head like, yo, is she gonna, like, how she gonna feel about this? And when she's like, hey, yo, babe, it's good. Let's ride. Let's ride.
Let's ride. Let's ride.
Let's ride. So like, so those things matter. So then it's like, okay, we've experienced all 5 of them, but these are the ones that are speaking to me the most. So let's lock in on those things.
So I'm glad you said that, experiencing all 5, because for our listeners, all 5 are important. It's not like I just do these 2. You don't need these things. We all need physical touch. You know, we all need all
Words
5
of affirmation,
of them.
acts of service. We need it all.
We need all of them. We need to feel all of them, but some of them they just hit differently. You know. So with that being said, we start off this episode. We talk about lust languages as well. And you were giving us the background on lust languages. Are all 4 lust languages necessary to love?
To what?
Are all 4
lust? The interesting thing about the lust languages is that love doesn't have to exist in it, right? So think about your experiences over the course of your life. Like, you've been romantic with a woman and not been in love with her, right? You've been connected with a woman and not been in love with her.
Harmony.
You've had harmonious moments with multiple women and never been in love with them, right? And then you've had sex.
It's just the primal instinct has showed up.
The primal instinct has showed up multiple times, right? And you've never been in love. So, love doesn't exist. Love only exists in the love languages. Lust is physical. It's physical. It's all on the surface. There's nothing underneath, in my opinion, right? In the love language, everything is underneath. Everything.
Well, even in love languages though, like, there's people that have done acts of service for me that I don't love. That's a love language. There's people that I've spent quality time with. That's a love language.
But love languages only speak to you when you're in love with the person.
But
right?
the acts are still the languages are still there, right? So physical touch, it doesn't matter if I'm.
But it won't do nothing for you. It won't do nothing for you unless you're in love with the person.
Okay, so then.
Hey, hold on. Wait a minute. Hey, so you ain't never got no gas, aka words of affirmation. It charged you up. And you wasn't in love with her?
And I wasn't in love with her?
It does something. You just don't consider it love. But it does something for you.
But it's not love, though.
But what I'm saying is, I think that, like, they're interchangeable. So just because they're, like, in lust don't mean they don't fall in the love category. Or just because they're in love, love language, they don't fall in the lust category. They're interchangeable. I think so. So even something like sex, right? I know sex is primal. I know sex falls underneath the lust umbrella, but I consider that a love language too. I consider sex a subsidiary of physical touch, right? And I feel like just because it falls under the lust category doesn't mean that it's not equally as important and present in love, right? Because I feel like sex is definitely a part of a love language, physical touch, rubbing on your back when you're upset.
That's physical touch.
That's physical touch, right? So like things like that.
So can sex
Kissing.
Can sex be misinterpreted as love? Or
absolutely.
There's a lot of people who have sex that think they're in love.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely, sex can be misinterpreted as love, but that doesn't negate the fact that it still can be a love language. And I'm not saying sex is actually love language, but physical touch is.
Physical touch.
That's what I mean. Physical touch is, and I feel like sex falls under that. Because when we talk about physical touch, we have to talk about actual things. We can't talk about abstract shit, right? Physical touch, sex,
holding hands,
kissing,
rubbing each other.
Right, yeah. So hugs, holding hands, PDA.
Yep.
Those are all elements of physical touch. You know what I'm saying? And I think it falls under those categories. My perspective.
Oh, your
You know,
perspective is
just
valid
my
here.
perspective. Nothing crazy.
Hey, your perspective is valid
Well,
here.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not mad at you for saying physical touch falls under. I mean, sex falls under physical touch. It's just interesting as we're talking about love and lust languages. I feel like you said, everything is interchangeable. I feel like in the lust language, you do want to feel some like moments of harmony in your relationship. You want to experience those. You just went on a trip with your fiance, and I felt like you guys were in harmony the whole time.
For sure.
Right? You know, sometimes you go on a trip and you be like, man, yeah, we got an argument while I was out there. That wasn't one of those trips. You know, sometimes that happened, but that just wasn't one of those trips. You guys was in harmony.
Yeah.
Y'all was flowing.
That's so whack when that happens.
Oh, man.
That's the worst.
That's the worst,
That's
right?
the worst.
That just y'all was in harmony. Y'all was flowing, you know. And I think it's they're interchangeable. I think the problem with the lust languages is when you begin to rely and lean on those more than the love languages because love languages, sometimes words of affirmation can come through an uncomfortable moment. Lust languages, you're not having uncomfortable moments in communication. It's just not going to happen because harmony is a part of the lust language. So therefore, if harmony is a part of the lust language, you have to stay in that space to continue to lust. That's a part of what is allowing you to lust. One thing that I think is interesting about relationships, I feel like at every single point in a relationship, every woman looks at her man and she says, babe, I want you to lust after me. Mm-hmm. At some point in time, it happens. And I feel like it happens because there's a major shift that happens to go from, hey, yo, like, I got with you because I'm attracted to you physically, to go from, yo, I actually like want to build this entire life with you. So like,
That's different.
just jumping on you that's not my main focus. Like that's not my main focus. Like it's so crazy. I love you even way more than I did when I was just jumping on you. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's just different. So it's like, all right, cool. I understand you want to lust after me, but I'm kind of operating so far over here that to even get back in that space of just lust is very, very difficult. Mm-hmm. Right? So in talking about love languages, right? What aspect of your love language do you activate to please that need for your partner? Ooh, that was a good ass question.
Wait, whoa.
That was a good ass question. Boy,
Hold on. What part of
your love language
do you activate?
To please that need for your partner? Ooh. Because
what part of your love language do you activate to please the need of the love language for your partner?
Yeah.
Acts of service.
Hey.
Acts of service.
But why though? Because
I'm serving a need.
Oh my God, no.
She got a problem that need to be fixed.
I would say physical touch. I would say physical touch is something that I activate.
Wow.
To supply that need.
And you know what? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to fully side with Duke on the acts of service. And I say acts of service because it's like physical touch could only go so far sometime. Like, you know, I'm touching you, I'm holding you, but I want you to lust after me. Like, you touching me and you holding me isn't what I need you to do. So now it's like, all right, cool. Acts of service is fully outside of myself. This is solely and strictly for you and to please you. Granted, I'm gonna get in fulfillment out of this as well because you're my partner. That's what I'm here for. Yeah. But like, I'm here to serve and fulfill a need.
That's how I feel about physical touch. Mm. Mm-hmm. I'm here to serve a need now.
Is physical touch lower or higher on the way that you give love? Period. Like, outside of a need, just like how are you gonna give love?
Well, it's higher on my list because that's what my woman requires, right? But if my woman didn't require, it wouldn't be so high on the list. You know what I mean? But I give it because that's what she requires, and that's what she wants. That's what she needs.
You see how they could kind of
like
you see how they intertwine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like even any given day, anyone could be the primary one.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Because I literally tried to figure out which one it was that I be given. And they were all just like in my mind, jumping over each other, because they're all 5 of them are
important,
just necessary,
yep,
and at the forefront in different times.
It just all depends on what's going on,
right? Whereas, and for me, at least the way I feel, I have a more consistent necessity for 1, 2 love languages. You know what I mean? But when I think about giving it, like acts of service, right? You need constant reassurance for your girl, gifts, right?
Physical touch,
quality time, physical touch, all those things.
I got a question for you, O. I feel like you're very certain about what your love language is and the way you receive love. And I think it's it's tough to bring shortcomings to the forefront of relationship. So when you feel like your love is you're not receiving love, right? Because she loves you,
absolutely,
but you're not receiving it in the way you need to receive it. How do you address it? How long do you wait to address it? And, are you addressing it? Are you addressing it with force? Are you addressing, like, what does that look like? Walk us through that.
Well, I would say that there's a time and space for everything. And you learn that through experience. I would say early on in my relationship with Candace, when things weren't going the way, or I wasn't being loved the way that I wanted to be, I was very adamant about being vocal in the moment. I've learned through experiences that that's not always the best approach. Sometimes it's best to kind of take some time and think about exactly how you want to express how you're feeling. Because sometimes your emotions could get the best of you and you don't express yourself the way or articulate yourself the way you truly want to, right? So what I've learned is that sometimes you need to take some time, some space to really think about how you want to articulate that to your partner. Think about the right time. Think about how you want to articulate that to your partner, and then find the right time and space to deliver that message, right? And deliver it from a place of understanding that this person may not realize that they're not giving it to you the way that and it's not like they're deliberately doing that. And that you have to understand. I think you got to be very clear about that. This is not a deliberate act from them. Something is going on where some wires have gotten crossed and there's been a disconnection. Right, so you need to just sit down, rewire the hardware, and get it back on track. You know what I mean? But again, there's a time and space for everything, and I've learned that sometimes it's not always instantaneous. You know what I mean? Sometimes it takes some time to let it cool over, or maybe you need a new location. And to be honest, we have those conversations quite often. You know what I mean? Of whether it be a check-in or whether it be, hey, you're not speaking to me in my love language, or I'm not speaking to you. And I think that happens naturally as people, we get busy, right? You have things going on, you got things going on, I got things going on. And it's very easy to get caught up in your own life within the relationship, right? So I think there's moments within all of our relationships that we have to have those reality checks where it's like, yo, let's pay attention and focus on what's really happening within our relationship, address it, and then move on respectfully, of course, because you both love each other. You know what I mean? And we both want this thing to work. So, but again, I think it's very wise to understand that 9 times out of 10, your partner isn't deliberately, not giving you the love language that you absolutely need,
Okay, so let me ask you this. What advice would you give to men who don't quite know what their love language is? How should they go about learning it and identifying what's best for them?
I think a good starting place is versing yourself in all the love languages. So getting a solid understanding of what all the love languages are. And then if you have the opportunity to be dating at the time, then I would say try to apply those things and see what resonates with you the most. But I think it would be really hard to identify which one speaks to you without having a solid understanding of all of them. It's kind of, and if you do, I think eventually it'll change, right? You probably made the decision too premature. So that would be my advice, to get versed in all the love languages and gather as much information you possibly can and the greatest understanding you can before making your decision.
Yeah, the 2 things O said are data.
Yep.
You got to get data. You got to get data for yourself and just understanding what the love languages are. And then you get more data for yourself while you dating.
Yep.
You know, what are people making you actually feel? One thing that's a little bit tough with the dating aspect is there's a little bit of intentionality that's required because, you know, some people may just be speaking to your lust languages. So, you know, if you really, really want to know your love languages, you know, try to date people who you actually can potentially see yourself, you know, being with. You know, are you like enough about them to where you be like, yo, I really want to explore them as a person. I'm not telling you to don't explore anything else, but I'm saying like try to understand what your love languages are through intention, because it's not gonna fall out of the midair.
No,
it just won't happen.
So how about this? Is it possible to have love languages with someone who isn't your partner?
Yeah,
I would say so.
yeah.
Demi just asked us, do us three have love languages
As friends,
between each other? As friends? Ooh. I think words of affirmation. You know, we talked about a couple of episodes ago, how you know we kind of walk around with this kind of superhero mentality, and that doesn't just go towards our relationships, but to each other as well, right? We don't really know each other's all the time. We don't really know what we're going through all the time. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think for me at least, a love language for me would be a Duke, bro. Like, man, like, even though these my brothers and I see you guys all the time, it feels good hearing my brothers say, hey, you spoke really well. You know, hey, you spoke really, really well. You got something here, right? Or I dropped a collection last year, Jalon calls me, he said, yo, hey, you really got something right now, right? So those types of affirmations go a long way, you know, in this type of relationship. So for me, I think just off the top of my head, words of affirmation.
I'm gonna be a little, because we kind of ran away from this one, but I would say gifts too. You know what I mean? It is nice. It is nice, and it's a great way to feel love when your brother does give you a gift, right? Like, I think about the most recent gift I got from one of my brothers. Jalon bought me this book, like a coffee table book. I think it was for Christmas or
your birthday.
For my birthday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
You like that? We haven't talked about it. You like that?
I love that.
Okay, cool.
I love that. I love that. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, damn, it almost made me feel guilty because I didn't have something to offer as well. You know what I mean?
That's just the man that we be.
And to tie back into like a few episodes or many episodes ago when we were talking about, it's like, well, we all have to get better at just accepting the blessings.
Just accept that.
Sometimes you just got to accept the blessing.
You know, it's so crazy. That gift was, love language, I would consider it an act of service, because for me, I was out. It's not like I was like, oh, I got to get a gift. I was out. I seen this and I was like, oh, he could benefit from this. I was like, let me grab that. I was like, his birthday just so happened to be this week. So let me grab that.
Yeah.
I would have got it for you if it was April.
Yep.
But I'm glad it was your birthday. So that was your birthday gift.
No, that was tight.
Yeah.
That was tight. So men can have love.
We can have love
languages amongst each other as friends.
Yours?
Let me see. Let's go through the 5.
Words of affirmation.
It definitely ain't physical touch.
It's not physical touch. Words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts. What's the other one?
Quality time. Quality time is a real one amongst us.
You know what? I'm gonna say quality time, and I'm gonna say quality time because I think that's the most elusive one.
Yeah.
For us, obviously every time you guys see us, we're together.
But that's not the case. That's not the case, though.
Duh.
Nah, man. You know, we had, so crazy. I was actually just in my phone, and memories pop up, and memories popped up of just times where we used to be together every day. And I was just like, dang, like. Brittany always asked me, like, do you miss those times? And I was like, nah, I wouldn't say I miss them, because I miss them means that I want to have them back exactly how that was. Nah, I cherish those times. And with that being said, I cherish the time that we do have together. So when we are together in these times, like, I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted. You know, I do appreciate the quality time that I have with my brothers. And that honestly, like quality time with anybody who, like quality time with your partner is important, but you know, that could happen spontaneously. Quality time can happen spontaneously. Like me and Brittany, we spend day dates together and just like, oh, I took off today, you took off today, all right, let's do it, right? That doesn't really happen with your friends, you know, so
Not
especially at this point, it doesn't happen like that. So I definitely appreciate the quality time. And then
I say that too. Hell yeah.
just being able to, because within the quality time, I feel like the words of affirmation really come up. You know, that's super important. Like, yeah, I do want to let you guys, I'm going to give them some affirmation right now. Hey, man, I want you guys to know you guys are fucking crushing it. Like, seriously. You guys are ex-NFL athletes, and you guys are making this shit happen. Like, I'm really, really proud of you guys. As your brother, seriously, you guys are really doing it. Because I know it's not easy. This real life thing is not easy. And the fact that you guys are maintaining it day after day, month over month, and then bringing people into your life and then bringing them along with that journey as well. I'm really proud of you guys. I can't wait to see you guys start families because you guys are incredible figureheads.
Man, I'm receiving my flowers, bro.
Yeah.
Take them.
I'm receiving.
Take them.
I'm receiving mine too, but I'm also say I'm proud of you guys too for being the men that you guys say you are. Not you guys are leading by example in relationships as Black men, as leaders of our community. And people are taking notice to that, bro. Not only are people taking notice to that, I'm taking notice. I love watching you guys step up as men, evolve as men. And yeah, I want to give those flowers out as well because it's clear. The growth is clear.
Yeah.
The growth, that might be the most evident thing with everybody in this room, in my opinion, is the growth that I've been able to witness over the years. We've known each other 10 years. You know what I mean? And the evolution of you guys from the maturation from young men to grown ass men handling their business has been something special to watch.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. Y'all two are high caliber, prestigious. Y'all two are some of the most just well-rounded, grounded, passionate people, right? A ton of substance, a ton of wisdom, and more than anything, man, I don't know two men that have, you know, and it comes out in different ways in both of you guys, but just two men with just good hearts, you know what I mean? And just the desire, not only does the desire to do well in life, but just impact people in such a positive way, right? I've watched Jalon talk to thousands of people, right, on a daily basis, thousands of people. And I think everyone that's sat in this chair has left alleviated. You know what I'm saying? And just being able to use, when you're able to use someone as a soundboard like that, that means they're a good person.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone feels comfortable enough to do that. I've watched just make thousands of people smile, you know what I'm saying? And just be a super infectious energy to anyone he comes across. You know, whether it's training, whether it's social media, whether it's out and about, whether it's his friends, it doesn't matter, man. So I commend you guys for that. I definitely want to give you guys your flowers. You guys deserve them, and I'm just proud to be a brother.
Go ahead, receive them flowers.
Yeah.
All right.
Catch that shit like a bouquet.
Fellas, is there anything else we got?
Nah, man. I think that was a great way to end it.
Jalon?
Man, learn those love languages. I know I had to.
Yeah.
I think that's important. Know the difference between the love and the lust language as well.
All right, family. Hope all is well, man. Thank you for tapping in with us, watching us. If you are watching this right now, screenshot that whatever you're watching, it's your phone, take a picture of the TV, post it on your story, share with a friend, get the word out. We're growing right now, thanks to you. Make sure you're following us on all social platforms. Make sure you're subscribed to us on all streaming platforms, all right? Follow myself on Instagram at Duke Omar at Omar.Bowden, Jalana at just.Jalan. Tap in with us. Let us know your favorite part. Comment. Give us some feedback. All of that jazz. All right. That's it, man. Much love, much gratitude. I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalan, and this is another episode of Nice and Neat, and that's that on that. Peace.
I'll be the one to take the risk to go and get them bands. I'll be the one to never sit and go and make a plan. Knowing my mother getting old and I don't got no time. Gotta keep a couple for the road, the rest get left behind. Yeah. To the hundreds, pledge allegiance, I stand.